Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. Hollywood After Dark. Today, of course, is the 15th of April, 2021. Today is tax day, or it was tax day before the earth-altering pandemic from a year ago. And if you're like me, you're happy because you got a month to get your stuff in order. But tonight we're going to be talking about Marvel's house and whether or not they're going to be dealing with this, what appears to be a growing T'Challa problem, plus whatever else you guys want to talk about tonight here on Hollywood After Dark. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to the show. Tonight, of course, is the 15th of April. I know I see there from Safety Zoom, tax day is now May 17th, which is awesome. Gives us some time to talk about other stuff rather than, oh my God, do I have all my deductibles in order? This is what happens when you are an adult with a home and a business owner. It's it's all fun and games until that one day. And then it's a mad scramble to get it done. Or I'm just lazy. I can't quite tell you. But anyway, let's see what's going on today. Daniel 8 Soria here says, hi, everyone. Says, live on the wrong channel again. Yeah, I am. I have the Hollywood After Dark channel. I don't know. Screw it. I'll just go where the people are. I'll play the game. Daniel, I'll play the game. We got Shiny 311 saying, hola. How's it going? Alvi says here, man, I missed the last few live streams. Glad you leave these available for rewatch. Yeah, I only hide them on the other channel sometimes. We'll see what happens with that one. Jess here says, morning, everyone. Rail says, what's up, Jess? No, yeah, I don't get a hello, but Jess gets a hello, Rail. You simping, man. You simping. Of course, Underhaven here says, taxes, pog. I don't know what that... I'm a boomer at this point, so let's be kind of fair here. Minmin says, let's be responsible adults and talk about movies. Yeah, because it could be worse. We could be talking about anime. Sorry. I know we got into a conversation last night about anime. I know we did. And it was pretty funny because a lot of people really want to like red pill me on anime. They really want me to dive into it. They're like, here's all these suggestions. You should watch all these animated movies, all this anime, get red pilled on anime, And I'm like, I barely have time to watch the shows I want to watch, but I can make attempts. Music Man here is all like, you and anime. Yeah, I know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Anyway, Ray, what's going on? How you doing? Let's see here. Safety Zoom here says, Secret Wars can reset the universe and allow the MCU to bring in new actors for old characters. They're not going to do that, though, man. Like, I honestly do not believe they're going to do that for a long time. Because I think after Endgame, if they were to bring back Captain America, like a new Captain America, a new Steve Rogers, and a new Tony Stark, and then maybe a new Black Widow, I think a lot of people would be really, really upset. Eventually it will happen. In like 20 years when like Feige is getting ready to retire, and he's like, I'm an old man and I own everything in Hollywood. And he's going to retire. And he's going to step down. And he's going to go like live on an island somewhere that he bought with all of his comic book money. And it's going to be the Kevin Feige island of comic book miscreants, where he'll be like Dr. Mephisto. And he'll create clones that are hybrids of characters. Squirrel Girl and Wolverine will become one. Cyclops and Jean Grey will finally enter into that entangled abyss. And then from there, he'll Disney will be run probably by a computer AI at that point. And they'll go, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, bopper, beep, boop. I can see here that the people want to see Iron Man 28,000. So let us bring back Robert Downey Jr., right? And they'll just de-age him because they have the technology. And who knows, by then, the kind of technology they're going to be able to have for any of these kind of situations. I mean, think about it like this, like hologram technology. Look at what Rogue One did with Peter Cushing in 2016. Now, granted, Peter Cushing looked really good. Leia looked really terrible for that movie, for that one shot she was in. And then even the de-aged Leia from Rise of Skywalker looked pretty bad, right? But deep fake technology at the time is going to be what really, what these studios, I think, harness. I mean, just imagine Okay, like how many times do you watch a movie and there's a stunt sequence and you can tell that it's the stunt actor and not the real actor? You know, you could always kind of tell that that's the case. Well, with deepfake technology, they'll be able to graph the face of the actor onto the stunt performer and you won't ever see him. So what would stop them from like literally just creating movies with I mean, imagine if an actor, think about this. Imagine if a big budget AAA Hollywood actor like Brad Pitt, Tom Hanks, Pedro Pascal, whatever, walks into a recording studio, right? And all they do is it's a mocap studio, but all they do is they mocap their face, right? They just mocap their face for the emotions. They record their dialogue like they're recording for an animated movie. And they maybe do some mocap stuff. And then those animators are able to take that and literally deep fake that actor's performance onto another person's body that looks enough like them. And then that's how they put them in these movies. And like that, so the actor doesn't have to go anywhere. Right. And the actor can just come. I mean, like they're going to do that. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that happens. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Anyway, let's see. Hey, Anthony, how's it going? I'm doing pretty good. Underhavener asks, do I think Tom Holland will ever put on the black suit? I would love it if Tom Holland put on the black suit. That would be fantastic. Music Manager says, if Marvel reset, I would be shocked like a motherfucker. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Min here says, I'd be okay if characters come back. Just give veterans some times to rest and new characters time to thrive. Yeah. No, that's kind of the whole point, right? That's entirely the point. Is you've got, you got to give it time for new characters, which is why I was suggesting that Warner Brothers kind of puts the Trinity on hold and builds up smaller characters, because I think that's going to have some really good longevity if they actually want to have a cohesive, competitive universe, which it doesn't appear that that's what they want to have it all. Arkham here asked the question, are you good? Do I read comic books? Not really, dude. I want to, but it's timing, man. I would love to like read comics and like talk about comics and stuff. Because there's a lot there and I could read a comic pretty easily. It would just be, it would be like figuring out a time to do it. Do I start another comic book channel? Like, welcome everyone to $3 Comics. That's right. Of course, you might know me from $3 Theater, Hollywood After Dark, Patio Commentary, and Blu-ray Therapy. I mean, at that point in time, how many avenues am I pursuing? But of course, this is YouTube and you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Because that can come back and bite you square in the butt, which I know about. Anyway, Cup of Malik here says, that's a good robot talk, Jarbo. Are you sure you're not Wally in disguise? No, I was just cosplaying as Gina Carano's Twitter profile. Min here says, live action movies will no longer be live action movies. That's right. They won't be. I mean, it's just going to be more cost effective to shoot on something like The Volume and then go from there. Like certain movies will have the big outdoor action spectacles, like car chases and whatnot. But imagine when they get to a point of where they can just digitally recreate a car chase and have it look as real as you would expect in a movie, right? That visceral realness, they can recreate that and give it like 10, 15 years. And you're not even going to really know the difference, right? I really feel like that's going to be the case. It's going to be very fascinating when movies become something like NFTs, when movies are made with the blockchain. Let's see. What about the voice though? Do they have tech for that yet? Well, yeah, actually they do have some tech for that. And you can, and I do not want to, this is kind of embarrassing, but somebody took me and they took my voice because I have thousands of hours of talking, and they downloaded the audio and transcribed all of the things. And they made a musical album of me saying very horrible things. And it's like, the guy's technology is really cool, which is like the terrible thing. The technology is really cool, but he was using me as like this, it was very harassing. Thankfully he's moved on and whatnot. I appreciate the technology and I kind of appreciate the art, but at the same time, it's still like, oof. So, you can do things like that. However, the other side of that though, is Adobe a few years ago showcased this new technology where you could have an actor or you could upload a profile of about 20 minutes of spoken word audio. And the AI would be able to read out in your voice typed words. You could type out a script and have that work, right? And the technology is there. Adobe was building it. They used Jordan Peele actually as an example. And they were talking about it being available for something like podcasting, or if you're transcribing an audiobook and you need to, if you are recording an audiobook and you miss a passage, you could then just upload the audio of the narrator, and then it would read out. It deep fakes your voice, basically. That's been around for a number of years. It just hasn't been put out in the mainstream. A lot of the deep fake stuff right now is all AI based, but it's laughable in regards to its quality. It all depends on the source material. Like there's this, she would not call herself alt-right anymore, but there's this one, when I met her, she was a libertarian. She went far, far further to the right. Her name is Lauren Southern. And she used to shoot her YouTube videos on like a Canon 5D Mark II, the really nice lens. So the quality was excellent. Somebody took videos of her because she just did static cam, talking to the camera stuff. They took videos of her and they deep faked her into porno. And it's up on Pornhub, I believe. And I know her. So like I saw that clip, and it's obviously not her because the quality of her face was actually better than the quality of the video presented. But it was her talking. It was her talking while sex was happening. And it was like really, really off-putting to see. And they do this. They did a bunch of deep fakes with like Scarlett Johansson and Emma Watson and a bunch of these celebrities, and that's going to be something as the technology gets better. You can bet your ass creepy mofos are going to be creating some pretty heinous stuff with this kind of stuff, because it's going to be unregulated, at least for a long time. And once it's accessible and easy to use, and almost anyone can upload photographs or video footage of someone to do a deep fake, it's going to be very difficult in some cases to replicate. Like, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here, right? I'll show you guys what I'm talking about just to give you an idea. And then we're going to jump into the Marvel stuff here. I saw H. Bart's thing there. So let me just, hold on. Let me just bring this up real quick here. All right. Okay. So, where's StreamYard? All right. So this is a website called This Person Does Not Exist. That is a person that does not exist. That is an AI generated image. I refresh the page. This guy right here does not exist. Keep going with that. Does not exist. You start seeing like this is all user generated. This is all automatically generated. And you couldn't tell. Does not exist. This guy right here, amalgamation of different people, and sometimes you can tell with the background, you can tell that it comes from this website, but the AI, it blurs out the background pretty well. And when they make it work, you can't tell the difference. You're not able to tell that this person does not exist. And this is where the technology is going. This is where things are going to go, where in the next couple of years, the AI, an actor can upload themselves, to something like this, upload their digital presence. And they would be able to, at that point, you can tell here, like, this is not like, you can see here that there's some errors here. Like there's the clothing doesn't match the kid's face. Cause it's an amalgamation of different images and the background doesn't match at all. But then you refresh and you see this and you're like, oh yeah, no, that looks real. This is going to be the future of entertainment. Although this guy right here, look at this. You can see it melding into like the bandana or the cap or whatever. So it's not perfect, but the more that you just kind of mess with it, the more, this looks real. I mean, if you were to take this image right here, this woman right here, and like just save this image and go and post this to like a dating site or something, you'd be able to easily catfish people. And so, but if they were able to take this and make it realistically be an actionable, like watching it take place on screen, you're going to see a whole bunch of crazy stuff, right? You're just going to see a whole bunch of wild stuff as it goes on. And that, of course, is, the situation we currently find ourselves in with everything. It's nuts to think about. It really, really, really is. So, okay, let's talk about, why don't we talk about this T'Challa problem with Marvel? We're going to jump right over to that because there's 50 of you guys here right now, and I appreciate that. And so what we have here, because HWAD was asking the question, what's going on with Marvel? Well, right now, there's actually an interesting situation that is brewing, because what you have are people that are asking to recast T'Challa to keep the Black Panther character going, because, we know they're working on Black Panther Part 2. That's going to be, I think, coming out next year. Ryan Coogler is trying to make it work right now. And a lot of people are, starting to they want to know details. They want to know details. And so there's a growing group of people that are asking for this recast. Now, I know that when, Feige himself has said that he's not going to sit there and do that he's not going to sit there and recast T'Challa. But I'm going to ask myself, I have to just ask the question, will that one day go out the window? Because we were talking about recasting, characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when they get older. At some point in time, is there going to be a situation where Marvel just says, let's just recast Black Panther? And so this is what the petition here is saying. Recast T'Challa and continue the hero Chadwick gave for young boys. So this is coming in from Kev Ovi. And he says, after the tragic passing of an American hero, the late, great Chadwick Boseman, there's been this renewed push to write off and replace the iconic character of T'Challa. That Chad so willfully, diligently, and wholeheartedly invested so much of his remaining years on Earth to bring to the big screen for young boys, especially Black boys, who didn't have a superhero. I find this urge to write off the character in honor of Chadwick to be misplaced and problematic. The Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't ending anytime soon, so to write off T'Challa would effectively mean no T'Challa for the next 15 years. Everything Chadwick did to drag the first Black superhero in comic book history to the mainstream prominence would end with Chadwick's own death, and millions of boys, Black boys, would be left with neither. As the great Angela Bassett said about Boseman, everything you had, Chadwick, you gave freely. Chadwick would give T'Challa freely to the next actor to finish the job. I understood there is a severe lack of Black female representation in the MCU, and that's a real problem, the real reason behind the push for Shuri to take the Black Panther mantle. However, in the comic books, T'Challa was alive while Shuri held the mantle. It is not mutually exclusive to write the character off in order for Shuri to have an opportunity. Let's not deny one demographic for the other when both can shine as brightly as they did in the first movie and all other appearances in the next 10 years. Some wanted T'Challa gone / replaced long before Chad's death, and I fear they're using his passing as a launching pad. Now, I want to know who the hell that is, by the way. I don't know what he's talking about here. Who wanted T'Challa gone? Outside of Killmonger in the movie. I don't get that at all. Everyone loved Chadwick Boseman. I don't get that. I urge actually Black Panther comic book fans and those simply fans of seeing our Black boys and Black girls both shine to sign this petition and let it be known that we wouldn't settle for one or the other. We must let Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige know that we want to continue Chadwick's legacy with T'Challa. The MCU should take their time to find the best actor out there. There are many talented brothers that Chadwick opened the door for, and continue the story that was always meant to be told. Finish the job, complete the story, and have it live on forever like Wakanda. Now, this is an interesting, the thing is with this isn't like an ill thought out petition, right? This isn't an ill thought out petition at all. There's actually a solid reasoning behind it. Like, you can't argue when we talk about representation, and representation is a big conversation piece right now, whether you agree with it or you disagree with it. The idea ultimately is that there is conversation surrounding it. And I don't know necessarily what would be the right move here. His death was tragic because it was so sudden. And that, of course, brings with it a lot of issue. The death of of Chadwick Boseman was not something that he told people at Marvel about. Now, I don't know how much of that I believe, to be honest with you. They do have to get health checks and health screenings in order to get the insurance, right? So I don't quite know. But the way that I view it is that, continuing the story, but is something I agree with. But do we know what his story is? At the end of Endgame, when he came back, we don't know where his story was going to go. So that does give them the opportunity to start kind of moving into a different direction with it. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, H. Bart's here does say, thank you very much for the $5. I believe Chadwick would want the character to go on. My family and friends who are African-American want T'Challa to stay alive. Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to kill him off. I don't know if they're going to kill him off at all. Annie here says, it's a difficult situation. Honestly, I completely agree. It's a tough one. And so to help kind of talk about this a bit more, we got my friends RJ and we have William joining the fun tonight. How's it going, guys?
Going great. I hope you're doing well, Matt.
I'm doing good. So I know this is an interesting topic of conversation because I believe it is a problem for Marvel. I think there's going to be a growing movement of people that are going to want to see Chadwick recast going forward. And I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you, because it was shocking and it was so sad with his passing.
There's only one real answer. You recast the role. The role, the actor is there for the movie. The role is there to serve the narrative of the movie. Rest in peace. But Chadwick Boseman wasn't the movie. He was a piece in the story, and the story goes on. The story, it wasn't Chadwick Boseman's biography that we're talking. Only he could play that character. He was there. He did his part during the movies he was in, and it is a role. That role is there to fit the narrative. I mean, I don't see how there's any confusion or how there's any. I know people are sentimentally connected, but I mean, so we're never supposed to tell a Black Panther story again?
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think
the idea would be, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think the idea, I mean, this is the thing, it's a very delicate situation. I don't think there's a right answer no matter what direction they go in. Honestly, like in my heart of hearts, I would hope that they would do whatever Chadwick wanted best, but I see both sides of it, because T'Challa was an iconic character for young Black men in this country in a lot of regards. People love seeing him on the screen, what he represented for people, and you don't want to take that away, obviously. I mean, it's a tough balance. I mean, Kevin Feige said they don't want to recast. I think it might be a mistake, but I think what they might do is introduce a brand new character, like a new character, maybe not even from the comics, maybe, to be like the new face of Black Panther, like a new character to like take up that mantle. I don't know, though. I really don't know.
Here's why I don't think they should do that. If you had no plans of doing that before he passed away, then you shouldn't be altering the story for an actor under any circumstances. If it is an act, if it's a character like that, I mean, Black Panther's been around since 1966. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to be around another 50 or 60 years. I think it would be a mistake to stop telling your story. I mean, it's unfortunate that he passed away, and he was a great actor. He might even win an Oscar posthumously, but your story goes on. All these actors, every one of these actors, are a piece of a puzzle that goes to telling a story. They are there for this story. The story is the priority.
Well, I think you're right. I do think you're right on that one. But it's like, again, so many people tied the character of T'Challa to Chadwick. That becomes the problem. It's like recasting Robert Downey Jr. If he were to die or recasting, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia. It's like they could have recast her for The Rise of Skywalker, but fans would have lost their shit over it.
That's a little bit different though, because with Carrie Fisher, you had damn near 40 years of storytelling with that same person. You literally handed that character off from one generation to another. Chadwick Boseman, like I said, when you get into telling a story and you get into telling a movie, you cannot attach any aspect to your story making all the time to a particular character. And as somebody of color, I mean, that would be absolutely tragic for them to retire that character because of an actor. Because that character, I've done movie promos for the last 6 or 7 years where we've done pre-screenings for people, and we hand out tickets. And the percentage of people of color that are in these, especially with superhero movies, is about maybe not even 7%, because we do the statistics, if that, and that's on an exaggerated night. When we were doing the promotion for Black Panther, it was up to 43 to 44%. And do not underestimate the representation of seeing a character of that stature on the screen. And to retire that character, I don't know Chadwick Boseman, but I know what that character, I heard his interviews of what he thought that character meant to a young black man. And it would be an absolute tragedy if they retired that character for that. That would be, to me, and I know what Kevin Feige said, but I think that's the absolute wrong decision. There are certain situations where maybe you might do something like that, but I don't think when you have a massive narrative like MCU is, and you have a character that's been around for decades that will probably be portrayed by someone else. Chadwick Boseman was 42 years old, so who knows how many more movies he was going to play, even if he was in good health, if he'd want to play that role up into his 50s or 60s. So you can't anchor it and forever, not do the character anymore because of that. That would be sad.
No, I mean, I don't think you're wrong in that regard at all. I mean, it was very sad and sudden. I mean, when I heard the news, it was just like a punch to the gut. It's like it just came out of nowhere. I know Matt was kind of referencing earlier. I have to believe in some regards he might have told somebody at Marvel. I really do.
Well,
I know
no,
maybe
they do.
like,
well, when you get insurance, right? When you do insurance for these movies, they do a full physical. Right. Like everything about you is looked at because they have to insure you for millions of dollars. So I don't believe that they didn't know. But I think like they thought he was going to beat it, and it didn't look like it was slowing him down. Because not only did he do like Black Panther, he did like Them Five Bloods, and then he did the Ma Rainey movie, I believe, and he did
Infinity War, Endgame,
and
all
yeah,
those.
Well, yeah, Infinity War especially. Endgame, he popped in for like like last couple of minutes and shit. But that's the whole issue is I think that I agree with William that recasting is going to be necessary. I know people have talked about passing the torch to Shuri.
It's not going to work though. Letitia Wright's not a leading actress. I love her in that role, but that's a side character. They haven't built that character up to take over.
Yeah, and her character was a temporary. And like I said, if that was the narrative that you were headed to, absent his death, then I'm okay with it. But if you were going to alter the course of your story because of that, that's not only do I think that's a mistake, that's a detriment to him, to Chadwick Boseman. I mean, that's ending a character that he bought, put a lot of heart and soul into, and that means a lot to a lot of people, especially minorities. Like I said, this is the first time that if you're black, you had a headliner. Yeah, you've had Blade doesn't count as far as that. I'm talking about a major, big budget superhero.
I don't know. I'm gonna push back on the Blade thing because for '98, like we had there was like Spawn, there was Blade, there was Steel, there was Meteor Man, and I won't hear an unkind word about Robert Townsend. So I'm sorry.
Well, Steel was horrible though.
All those characters make up for the pinky of Black Panther.
I get that. I get that.
Stan Lee, Jack Kirby created character that was one of the first 15 or 16 characters that were created in the 60s. He was the first character that marked a change in direction from the light and colorful early 60s to the Black Power movement, the Vietnam era. He represents a lot, and like I said, you can't really compare that to Blade. On that front, but I'm talking about a major $200 million budget that had the potential to make anywhere between $700 and to $1 billion.
Well, it didn't Black Panther cross $1 billion? I mean,
it did. Yes, it did.
And
most of it was domestic, by the way.
Yeah, I went to the preview screening in IMAX and saw it, and I loved it. So I really like the character, and it's like for me, Chadwick Boseman's death would kind of hit me like Paul Walker's death did, And
I didn't know he was sick. I didn't know.
No one knew he was sick. That was his closest family knew he was sick, but like people, he didn't let anyone on the public know. He kept a good face about it. But it's like,
some people were speculating when he did that one Instagram video. People thought, he's losing weight.
Right before he died, there was that attack on him for the weight. I remember that too. But the thing is that like when I bring up Paul Walker, you know, because we just got the new Fast and Furious trailer yesterday, and there's like a reference to Brian's character, and Justin Lin gave an interview where he was like, "Oh, I want people to remember that in this movie, Brian is still very much alive," and I'm like, "But we gave him a send off, you know, like." I kind of feel like it's maybe in the same way of like recasting. It's
he
like,
literally rode off into the sunset.
yeah,
like,
he rode off into the sunset. Like, I don't know what, I don't know why you would say that and do all that. So it's a very delicate issue because fans can go either way. It's like as big of a fan as I am of the Fast and Furious franchise, if all of a sudden they kind of like, they very terribly bring Brian back, knowing Paul Walker's been dead
his
for
brother
7 years.
and the CGI face.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, I'm going to get pissed. I'm going to feel it's disrespectful. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would feel the same way if they found either they did something very stupid with T'Challa, or how they handle it. But I mean, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, William. For Black Panther 2, what do you think they should do?
Recast the role.
Just recast it?
No doubt in my mind. And here's why. And the comparison, you're not the first to make the comparison to the Paul Walker character or any other character for that matter. But you got to realize, though, the portrayal of that entire Wakandan society, him as a king, breaks every stereotype that's been put on TV about us. Not everyone, but a lot of them. There's a lot of stereotypes, and that one just cut right through it. And it was one of the best representations. Like I said, I saw the way kids reacted to that, and that needs to continue. I would rather deal with the friction of, hey, oh no, it's not Chadwick Boseman, than the character not continuing as King T'Challa. That would be devastating for me.
But do you think that it's possible that people would reject? Okay, so let me kind of phrase it to you like this. I'll put it in the context of the MCU. So the reason why I'm streaming early tonight, obviously, is I want to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier at midnight. So
same.
I want to watch it. Like that's the whole thing. However, look at the whole situation. They brought in Travis Walker, the new Captain America, and there's that animosity towards that character because he's not going to live up to the shoes that Steve Rogers left behind. He's not going to be able to fill them. And he's also aware of that, which is a good character arc for him. But I'm wondering, like, what if they okay, who would you cast as the new Black Panther? Because I think that's the more important question. Who would be a good person to take over?
I have an answer right now. Are you
going to say Winston Duke?
Nope.
Okay.
Roger Jean Page from Bridgerton.
I mean,
that's a good one. But
I want Winston Duke. I'm not going to lie.
Well, Rhea mentioned in the comments, something about, passing the torch to M'Baku because he did challenge for the throne. I don't know though. I don't know.
Now, if that wasn't your original plan, then don't do it. If you're altering your plan for things that happen in real life like that, you're altering your imaginative narrative for things that are happening in real life. We'll never be able to make movies again. People pass away. It's unfortunate.
I mean, Ryan did mention that, when Heath Ledger passed away, they didn't retire the Joker character. But, I mean, I know it's different because it's different interpretations, so they can kind of get away with that. But, I mean, his point is a little valid there. I mean, you don't stop the character when an actor passes away. You do have to keep it going in some regards.
Especially when it's a character like this. Like I said, you're going to have the MCU guys, the hardcore guys that are just not, the militant guys, but the majority of them are not. And the majority of them, the people that went to go see Black Panther, were not general MCU hardcore guys. They were general audience people. And the general audience people, especially the ones of color, were going to want to see their king.
No, that's absolutely right. I remember going to see Black Panther opening night, and there was a line to get into the theater. And somebody was asking, because I believe it was a woman and some of her children, and a bunch of other people. Like I think it was either me or my dad asked them, "Oh, this is like one of you guys like the MCU?" It's like, no, like we've never even gone to see a Marvel movie in theaters, but we wanted to come and see this one. Like that's the impact this movie had.
Because we just don't have a lot of it. We do not have. He is the most regal and the most prestige superhero or mainline superhero that we've had in my lifetime. We've had characters, but we've never had that guy that was the main guy. That was that goes back 50, 60 years. That goes back to a handful of people that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee created together. We haven't had that and on the big screen like that. And not with the kind of budget, not with the kind of promotion, and not just in that movie. He in Civil War and all the other movies, he the way that character carries himself and his stature means a lot. You have to keep that character.
You know
going.
what though? Someone mentioned in the chat, Yaha Abdul Mateen II would be great if he wasn't Black Manta in Aquaman.
I mean, well, the thing is, he could go over, and I like him quite a bit.
Yeah, but he's gonna be Aquaman too. You know, you can't.
Yeah,
do
I know.
At the same time.
Maybe I mean, like, he was Dr. Manhattan. That's and the makeup was a bit odd on that one. Now, H. Bartz here real quick says they could bring and thank you, H. Bartz. It says here they can bring in a multiverse T'Challa. I'm not too sure how I like that, to be honest with you. I just say that because
I mean that seems like a loophole. It's like, well, we didn't recast; we just brought in a different version.
But you're still altering your story. You're still altering your story because of a death, and I think that is a bad precedent to set. As unfortunate as it is, if your plan wasn't to do that, if your long-term plan, and Kevin Feige always has a long-term plan, if that was not in his long-term plans, then it should not be. It should not happen that way.
You know, I'm gonna drop a hot take real quick because they're saying that Black Panther 2 is gonna start shooting in July. I think they need to stop production, just focus on the Wakanda TV show for Disney Plus, wait a little bit, reevaluate the plans for the character, and then make a sequel.
Well, the thing is, I think that because keep in mind, everything that they're planning is going to tie into the phase, right? Whatever they're building to next.
Well, can't you put what you were going to do in Black Panther 2 and rework it into the Wakanda show and just make that show more important to the overall phase?
Well,
see, now you're bending over backwards and making you're jumping side to side to accommodate something that happens in every
Well, I know. I'm just
and didn't Feige say that the TV shows are inconsequential?
No, I thought he said they were going to connect.
No, inconsequential. Not that they're not going to connect, but that they're not going to alter the course of the movies.
Well, that's not. I don't know if I agree with that then, because WandaVision is setting up the path for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I don't believe.
Well, but that's what he said. He said, like, he's like, you don't need to watch the shows in order to watch the movies. So it's like ancillary content. But the thing is, let's be fair, Marvel fans are going to watch it.
Well, of course they are.
They're going to watch it 100%. But I think that the situation it's tough. I actually, I do agree with William more than I disagree. And it's not even that I disagree. It's that it's like, this is kind of like playing a game of Operation where you've got to go in real precise. Because
I think they're in a lose-lose situation no matter what they do, because no matter what they do, someone's going to hate it.
When you're in a lose-lose situation, that you go forward. Okay.
Yeah.
You
well,
have a fork in the road, you choose a left or right.
Stamina here makes an interesting comment. He says, if T'Challa dies with Chadwick, that sends a message that the place he held in the universe, the stories told with hearts and imaginations captured, aren't enough of consequence to carry forward.
Thank you. That is 100% correct.
And that's a good statement. Yeah, that's a good statement. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that.
Do you guys worry though that maybe the reason they don't want to recast is not because of the fan backlash, but more so inside the industry and the media backlash against Marvel? Like, they don't want to deal with the negative press and like the industry, being ashamed of it in a way.
You know what? Here's the thing. Hollywood has to be Hollywood. You make movies and you tell stories, and you use actors to tell those stories.
You know what? What's really funny though is, and I agree with you, but Anthony Mackie talked about this in 2017. You guys remember that, where he said that there are no more movie stars?
Yeah, I remember something vague about that.
He made
the characters are the stars now.
Yeah, the characters are the stars. But I think he's right.
100%.
But I do think because of how closely tied Chadwick was to T'Challa,
That's because he was the only person to ever play him, though. That's a connection that was
okay.
Who else played him on the big screen?
Right. So kind of like how we felt about Christopher Reeve before Brandon Routh took over.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or again, just like you brought up earlier, Matt, be like recasting Robert Downey Jr. It'd be more of a backlash because that's the Iron Man.
But it's going to happen. Robert Downey Jr.
Well, it has to happen eventually. 20 years from now, when they make more Marvel movies, they're going to have to.
I wouldn't even give it that long. I would give it maybe 5 or 6 years. Be honest with you. Yeah, you got to realize though, you're certain characters that they're just not going to go forward with without telling their story with. They're going to want their Iron Mans. They're going to want their Captain America. Now they might wait 5 years. And be honest with you, with Chadwick Boseman's situation, that might be their best bet, is to wait a couple of years to have things recycled. But do not create a third part of the road that wasn't there before he passed away. I mean, Robert Downey, you will see another Iron Man in our lifetime, probably sooner than you think.
Well, they are doing Riri Hart. They're doing Iron Maiden.
Ironheart. Yeah, Ironheart. It's
Ironheart. Yeah. Iron Maiden. What the hell am I thinking?
Wow.
Yeah. That's an old. Old.
I just remember this. Chadwick recorded voice lines for the What If animated series before he passed, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was like a gut punch when I heard that he passed away. But I think it would be another gut punch for the character to die with him. It is a comic book character that is going to live on beyond him, even if he had lived to his 60s. Guess what? If we're all willing, we'll be seeing several interpretations of the Black Panther, and hopefully until I'm in my 60s or 70s. So,
right. Do you think maybe the cast influenced the decision, though? Like maybe the cast was like, we don't want to work without Chadwick. It's going to be too painful for us.
Did I would be disappointed if that were the case. I would be disappointed if that were the case because they're in the industry, they're actors, they know the business, and they know the business of telling a story. They know their part in it. So anybody who would willingly say, "I want the story to end," if I can't have him at it, I can't even believe that he would even want that. It's the Black Panther must continue, not just because of one actor, but because of what it means. It is a representation that is needed out there. Because, like I said, we got one at that level. Who else we got?
Right.
Well, real quick here. H Barts did say, I know he said this a little while ago. He says $5. Thank you, H Barts. Didn't they cast Chadwick knowing this could happen? Feige said no, but I don't know how much of that I believe.
Well, he can't really say anything because of HIPAA laws. He cannot make a public statement about somebody's health condition. They probably knew, but the final stage of his cancer, from what I can understand, came on quicker than anybody, even himself. And from people who I know who have cancer, and unfortunately people who I know who have passed away from cancer, you're not thinking you're going to die. You're fighting, thinking you got forever. And you have those good days, and you're like, I can make it. And then the body says, no, this is all I can do. So I can't believe that he, in his mind, thought that that it was going to end this quickly. He seemed like a fighter, and he was going to fight all the way to the end. But sometimes, especially when you reach stage 4 in colon cancer, I just lost a friend recently. She was doing okay, and then when the last maybe 40 to 60 days of her life, it was a downward spiral, and then they put her in hospice, and it was like that. I was talking to her, making plans that we were going to see her and her kid, and then all of a sudden, in the last turn of her life, and it went quickly. And from every time I talked to her, she was, thinking about having her kid grow up, graduations, left her kid on here at 6 years old. And she was talking about being here for her wedding while she was dealing with stage 4 cancer. So these guys, when they get this, they're fighting all the way to the end. So they're thinking my career is going to continue. And he's probably conveying that to everybody else that's outside his immediate family. So Kevin Feige, for all he knows, he probably knew he had cancer, but he probably didn't know and to what degree that his health was failing, and that nobody did. I mean, even with that picture, I'm like, okay, he's getting ready for a role. A lot of people lose weight for a role. I mean, I was stunned when I heard it, and like I said, but it would be a double barrel to not only lose him but to lose the character. That's just. I mean, I think people need to say that to themselves slowly. You would literally be having a Black Panther die twice, and needlessly.
I understand that. Andrew here with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Andrew. And I'm not only getting the super chats questions. I will answer other questions, but it's these. I don't want to miss these ones. He says, I'm with Will. They need to do it so characters like Black Panther can continue to be rebooted and recast, similar to Spidey, Supes, Batman, etc., and not be a one and done iteration. I agree with that in the sense that we need to move past origin stories. That's why I like the fact that Tom Holland Spider-Man.
I'm going to jump off. Hey, it was great finally getting to be on your show, Glowing Eyes.
Yeah, William. William, you're an insanely smart guy, and I love talking to you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Do me a favor. Send me a link to this show so I can save you on my thing because I've only got the $3 theater thing.
This is on $3 theater. This is on $3 theater. Okay, yeah. We're on $3 theater. Yeah. All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot, man. Have yourself a great night.
You too.
Thank you. William's a great guy. He's super smart. Like,
he is.
He knows the industry, so I love talking to him.
Absolutely.
But I agree with Andrew here in the sense that, like, origin stories hold back characters, and I think that I think that's ultimately where Hollywood is right now. That's one of the reasons why I liked Superman Returns was, it was the
They continue the story.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it kind of went into like this like offshoot where they forgot about, 3 and 4, which no one's going to care about. Because even today, somebody sent me like the clip of when Superman saves Lois in Superman Returns on the plane, and that plane scene was awesome, and it felt very Christopher Reeves and everything else. And so like I get that, but I also like how with when we were introduced to Tom Holland as Spider-Man in 2016, that it was the introduction was very brief. We all knew his story. We all didn't need to go and see it again. And it just allowed us to kind of get right into the action with Homecoming.
Right. You know what else? Like the best origin story movie is The Incredible Hulk, because the entire origin story is done in the opening credits in a montage.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get right to a story.
And they don't, well, and they also treated it like an episode of the TV show, which I enjoyed as well. So there's a lot there that's going on with this. And I agree. I think we need to get to the point of not, because and that's kind of the thing is like, as these universes progress, what exactly are they going to do in order to be able to maintain their success, right? So what I mean kind of by that is, do you go back and do the reboot mode where you reboot because you kind of have to reboot all your actors at that point. Like if the treat, because like if you've got like, let's say someone like Robert Downey Jr. and they're interacting with, Ed Norton as Hulk in one movie. I'm using this as an example. I know it didn't actually happen, but like, let's say like, in like Avengers 1, it was Ed Norton. And then in Avengers 2, that whole thing blew up and it really became, oh God, what's his name? Who's playing the Hulk right now? Mark
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. Thank you. I'm spacing on the last name, right? Like while Robert Downey Jr. is like the through line to that, the audience watching it would know. It's kind of like in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the 90s when they recast Aunt Viv.
Right.
Like it's like, we that was a big shock for people because I was a big fan of that show. We watched a bunch of it. It was
pretty controversial too.
It was controversial. And even on the HBO Max reunion show, that was a controversy that had come up when they were talking about it. So it's like, the recasting of certain characters can have negative impact. It's like when Phil Hartman died, he was on a show called News Radio and they were on their summer break. So he died in between seasons. And this was like over 20 years ago now. And so when the show came back, they acknowledged that his character had died. And then they kind of sought to replace him with John Lovitz of all people. Not, they brought in someone to basically be that replacement, not to take over the character. And it was, I don't want to say controversial, but it wasn't necessarily like the best received because, once that part of the dynamic is gone, the audience may have trouble going back and feeling the same way again, Now, in this situation, in Feige, I trust because he hasn't let me down yet. But it's also a very delicate one that can have some fans feeling resentful on either way they want to play it.
I don't envy Ryan Coogler at all because he's basically painted in a corner. Like no matter what he does, I think people will be upset in some regard, and he has to find a way to please everybody. And sometimes when you try to please everybody, you please nobody.
Yeah. So well, Daniel here says cast John Boyega. If John Boyega is gonna go into any superhero role, like make him Green Lantern, make him.
I think he could be Blue Marvel.
He could be some. I just don't know if I see him as T'Challa, because they have a different energy. And that is true. And William was right. This was the first time we saw anyone play Black Panther. So it's like seeing that performance becomes the bedrock. It becomes the example. And that becomes hard to live up to, right? So, and casting directors will be able to kind of figure it out. Now, Underhaven here does ask the question, do I think that the Ironheart series will piss people off?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. When Riri Williams makes her debut, dude.
When the comic came out, people were upset. They cried. They said this is the beginning. That's where Comicsgate started, was with characters like that. So, yeah, absolutely. Oh,
okay. Here we go. H-Bart's here. This is, and I kind of like this. What about Ray Fisher as T'Challa?
Yeah. I mean, Here's the thing. I don't think they're going to necessarily recast T'Challa. I think Ryan Coogler is going to come up with an original character. I think it's going to be original character we've never seen in a comic or anything. It's going to cast an actor, and I think like someone like Ray Fisher would be great.
Well, and the reason, and I like H Barts here because oh my God, ruler underneath at $2. Thank you again, both of you guys. Says Ray Fisher for T'Challa. That'd be a big fu to Warner Brothers, which would be something.
I would laugh so hard if no matter what he got cast in, it would be amazing.
I disagree with Jose here, coming in with the negativity all the time. Negativity here says nope, Ray Fisher is not good. Eat my ass, dude. He was awesome as Cyborg and Snyder Cut. Like, dude, he was the.
Remember, you have to keep in mind too. That was his first movie, his first big movie, and he delivered a performance that good.
Yeah, and I would definitely argue Emmy worthy because it didn't go to this version didn't go to the theaters, so right. It won't be up for Oscars. But at the same time, the character of T'Challa being strong and stoic, and humble and kind. You know what Ray Fisher kind of does come to mind. He's very, just listening to the Ray Fisher speak, he kind of embodies a lot of that. He stands up for what's right. He takes on in his mind what the corrupt is. I'm not going to sit there and make accusations. He fights for what he believes is right, and he'll take it on the chin if he has to. I mean, those are kind of the qualities you would expect out of someone like T'Challa and even Cyborg. So I don't want to sit there. Look, if given the opportunity to choose, like, do you want Ray Fisher as T'Challa or as Victor Stone? I would choose Cyborg because he's already established it. Plus, it would be in a world of where he wants to go back to. But I think, I agree. I think if they approached Fisher, and he is working for ABC right now, which is a Disney subsidiary,
that's true.
So
that's true.
They could bring him on.
Yeah, the chat's naming some interesting ones. I saw Lakeith Stanfield, Trevante Rhodes, John David Washington.
Oh, yeah. Well, John David Washington would be good. Lakeith Stanfield would also be good. I loved him.
What about Trevante Rhodes?
You're okay. What has he been in? I know the name. I can't place. I think
he was originally going to be Green Lantern. I think he was in Moonlight.
I didn't see Moonlight.
Yeah, he was in Moonlight. Yep, he was in Moonlight. He's also in Bird Box and the Predator movie that came out.
Oh, I haven't seen either of those. I haven't seen Predator. But I love this here. Flicks Picks and Nitpicks LLC says Terrence Howard. Why not? That'd be great.
That's a great example, though. I mean, they established Rhodey in that first movie and they recast and just kept going. They didn't drop the character.
No, and the thing is, everyone embraced Don Cheadle. Like, I remember when that happened, and Terrence Howard was out, and they replaced him with Don Cheadle, and I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I love Don Cheadle, and I like Terrence Howard too. He's a great actor, but I think Cheadle, like him and Downey Jr., really, really worked well together in not only Iron Man 2, but in Iron Man 3 as well. I loved when it went to basically like Lethal Weapon, Tango and Cash, Last Boy Scout type shit. When it became a buddy cop movie, which is totally Shane Black, by the way. Right. But I'm happy with that. Let's see here. H Barts here says $2. Thank you, sir. If Denzel was young, he'd be great. Well, yeah, that's John David. Right here comes back in. That's John David Washington. That's Denzel's kid. Like that would be. I think, that would be pretty good. He's a good actor. He's a really good actor.
If he was younger, Jamon Hansu as well. If he was younger.
Well, I mean, he was.
He did the voice of him in a cartoon, I think.
Yeah, so. And he was in Guardians, and then he also was in Shazam. So he's crossed over before, and I like him quite a bit as well. I don't think he ever fully got the full breakout he deserved, but after Amistad at least. Okay, hold on. Stamina here says all these names suggested don't present as African enough. We'll have the live action issue with Storm all over again. Now,
I understand where he's coming from because that's the thing with the Black community. They want to see darker skinned actors representing those African roles, not light skinned actresses. That's like the whole whole controversy in Hollywood.
I haven't heard that. I'm not disagree. I haven't heard it, so I don't have. I understand the representation because maybe they can find someone in Africa to do it, or like. Yeah. And that kind of comes across even as patronizing. It's not even my point. It's like, well, just go, like they could just, I don't know how casting directors do everything, but I think they could find somebody. The thing is, though, they have to make it marketable, and they have to make it marketable worldwide. And when they're going into other countries, like China, for example, where there are disparate, I mean, there's a lot of racism in China.
No,
Right.
100% there is, yeah.
Like, so it's, look at the whole John Boyega kind of moving Finn from the main focus of the
Or even the
American
Black
force.
Panther posters. In the Black Panther posters, they put the Black Panther mask over T'Challa's face.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like there's a factor there, and there's a lot of money that comes in from China. So Disney's going to play those games. It's also like when they have it's like the scene in Rise of Skywalker where the two women kiss, and that was completely cut out of the Chinese and Russian versions.
Oh,
of the
really?
movie
I
as
didn't
well.
even know that.
Well, that was a big thing with Beauty and the Beast. There was the scene with LeFou at the end, kind of like dancing with the guy, and it was this big controversy in Russia, huge controversy in 2016 or 2017 when the movie was coming out. They banned it, like they were cutting out that scene. It was this whole big mess, and then it was like, yeah, like I saw the movie and I'm like, oh yeah, that was like no big deal. You know what I mean? But they cut it out for other countries that are like exceptionally homophobic.
That's why I'm very interested to see what happens to Eternals, because Kevin Feige and Chloe Zhao are saying that there will be a gay character in that movie, like a main character who's gay.
Oh, that character, the gayness will be cut out of that movie and will be like for the international release.
You think
like,
so? Chloe, I mean,
100%.
Eternals are already having trouble with China anyway. You heard about the controversy over there that the Chinese hate Chloe Zhao for some of the comments she made, so Eternals could get banned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
wow.
Chloe Zhao made some comments about China, because I think she's originally from there. She talked about, I don't remember what she talked about, but they're pissed at her. Like,
well, it's probably Hong Kong. If anything, it's going to be the whole situation in Hong Kong, because that really exposed how much influence and power Chinese business has over our enterprises here.
Right, the whole Blizzard thing, yeah.
Yeah, well, not only that, but basketball was the big one. Like, I know Blizzard and like being silent on the Hearthstone thing, that was pretty bad. That was definitely bad. And one of my oldest friends actually works for Blizzard, and I hit him up after that, and I was like, hey, what'd you know? And he's like, yeah, we didn't really talk about it here. We just kind of kept our mouth shut. But the Hong Kong issue was pretty bad, especially with basketball, like LeBron, and South Park made fun of that quite a bit.
Oh yeah, people are still giving LeBron a hard time over that. They're still calling him like a traitor and all that stuff. So yeah.
I don't look, it's business. I get it. You know what I mean? But there are human rights violations that happen in China, and we know about it. But at the same time, like these companies are in it to make money. So it's kind of like, okay, go back to World War II, because hey, why not? Godwin's law. Let's go back to World War II here. Look at IBM. All right, computer manufacturer, still around today, still manufacturing tons of shit today. They were the ones who came up with, their components is what made the Enigma machine, right? That's what made that. And it was like they were selling items, they were selling components to Nazi Germany. Coca-Cola was banned in Germany. Coca-Cola was, because it was an American company. So you know what they did? They created Fanta. Fanta, while excellent and full of sugar and, massively super diabetes worthy, that was created as a drink to sell to the Germans because Coca-Cola was banned there. If you ever drink Fanta, you're drinking Nazi juice. I'm being hyperbolic. I love orange Fanta. My God, it probably is one of the reasons why I'm a type 2 diabetic, but it definitely is contributed to some weight in my ass. I'll tell you that. But that's how a lot of it goes, is like, these companies are in it to make money. They're going to alter and change and shift in order to get into whatever market they need to get into. So here's my question then. Can we, as a society that understands this is how business operates, can we fault them for doing it?
Yeah. Well, I found the comment that Chloe Zhao made. They had a web archive. She basically said that she grew up in China as a teenager, and China is being in a place where there are lies everywhere. You felt like you were never going to be able to get out. A lot of info I received when I was younger was not true. And I became very rebellious toward my family and my background. I went to England suddenly and relearned my history. Studying political science in a liberal arts college was a way for me to figure out what was real. Aim yourself with information and then challenge that too. So that apparently online people in China, like Chinese like forums, discovered that interview and then blowing up social media calling for people to like boycott Nomadland and Eternals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like that could be a factor. That could be a big thing.
You can't say that the Chinese are giving you lies and that everything you learn in history class is wrong. That's a big no-no over there.
The fourth here says, "Ooh, Stacey Dash's storm." Stacey Dash was popular back in the mid 90s for starring in Clueless alongside Alicia Silverstone. And then she didn't really do much after that, but she came out as this conservative darling a couple of years ago, full on MAGA, to try to get some relevancy within the MAGA community. And I think like she kind of renounced it a little bit ago or something.
Right. You know, they made when they made like another X-Men movie like the 90s or something, they would have got Vivica A. Fox as Storm. That probably would have been better than Halle Berry.
Oh man, I love Vivica A. Fox. I you know, like this that you know, I've always liked her. Anyway, let's see here. H Bart says $5. Thank you again, sir. It's okay for China to be acist. I hope the communist regime collapses someday. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. I think I would love to visit China. I'd love to visit China.
I don't think the world would know what to do if China collapsed, though, because the U.S. depends so much on them economically.
Well, the British are just kind of waiting. You know, they're just kind of waiting in the wings, going like, "We'll come back. We'll come back."
I don't know, man. They're dealing with the royal family issues right now.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's all smokescreen to take over China. James Wynn's asking, can we do call-ins? I've got about 15 minutes left. And so, yeah, I'll drop the link. We'll do a couple call-ins. Have a topic. Keep it quick because I'm going to wrap this thing up in about 15 minutes so I can get ready and watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
I want to know who this...
You got any predictions, man? Because they're saying big super cameo.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up because of WandaVision. And I wasn't even upset. I thought it was hysterical, you know, that so many people got mad. But at the same time,
no Mephisto, nothing. It's like
no Mephisto.
Yeah, Ralph Boner, man, Ralph Boner.
Well,
I didn't mind that though. I didn't mind it. You know,
it would be very fascinating to see, you know, like what this is. I think it's I don't know who it could be. I haven't heard. I mean, you know, some people are saying they know who it is, but they haven't spoiled it yet. So I don't quite know if that's the case. So all right, we got the first person calling in here, James.
Hey man, calling in from Brisbane, Australia again.
Oh hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. The Prince just died here because we share the same monarchy as the UK still.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So how do you feel about Prince Philip?
Well, personally, I'm a Republican, but you know, most people are apathetic.
Okay.
Not that kind of Republican.
Yeah, I was gonna say something political, but never mind. Because I know people making jokes saying, you know, because Prince Philip got the vaccine, people are making jokes. I'm like, no, the dude looked like a corpse like 6 months ago. Okay.
Yeah, he was 99, so.
I mean, the guy lived a long, long life.
Yeah.
And after a while, he just started looking like a ghoul from Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
The thing with Australia is, unlike the US, where you guys had to fight for your independence, the British just kind of just gave it to us.
Well,
on the
did you guys have to fight a war? Like there was like the Aborigine War with kangaroos or something.
There were the colonial wars, but they were between the British Empire and they were before independence.
Okay. All I know is that people make fun of Australians because apparently long ago they fought a war against kangaroos and lost. I don't know if that's true or not. It's some stupid.
It was the emus.
It was the emus. Okay, it was the emus.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting history there. But the real reason I want to call in, seeing as this is a movie show, is I wanted to say that...
Yeah.
Since today I saw the Midnight's Edge video, and it turns out they're calling out Mike Zero on his bullshit.
No shit. Really?
They made a video calling out Mike Zero.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you. That's a little shocking.
Yeah,
they're calling out.
Doomcock's calling him out.
That is, oh my god, that is the pot calling the kettle black. Oh jeez. No. I haven't listened to a Midnight's Edge video in probably like a year.
I used to love their channel, but then they just did it was like a snap of the finger. They just switched, and I just can't stand them anymore.
Well, and the thing is, so like Andre and I still follow each other, and
Andre's good. I like.
Andre's he's open about his disdain for Star Wars. Like he didn't grow up with it, so he doesn't care. So whenever Midnight's Edge does a video about Star Wars, it's never coming at it from a place of actually giving a shit. It is literally coming at it from like, how can we milk this for as many clicks as humanly possible? Then you get someone like Tom, who goes out and he's the one that goes to like all the fandom menace. He's super into the fandom menace, because they're the only ones that will like put up with this dumb shittery.
Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter.
Dude. Oh my God. When I criticized Mecha Random, like he was literally trying to call me a sexist. He was literally like him. And that Star Wars girl tried calling me a sexist. It was really funny.
Is Tom the one dating Mecha, or is it the other guy?
No, that's Rob.
Okay,
Robot Shlomo, Rob Shlomo, whatever he wants to go by now. He's the one who was dating. I don't know if they're still dating. I hope he got away. It's like, did you ever hear like this, okay. So, like the old story of like, the mermaids on the sea, right? And they would sing and call out to the sailors and they would tell their stories of the beautiful women on the rocks and calling to their graves. In reality, it's been suggested that it was manatees that they were hearing and that they were just insane because of scurvy and they were chasing after a manatee. That's kind of how I view the situation.
To be fair, in Japan, there was a legend back before back in the 1800s that there was a magical island of sex.
A magical island of sex.
Sounds like Vegas.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I want to know more.
Okay, so
like, basically, does this island still exist?
It was a real place, actually.
Is it a soap den?
This kid, so they wrote a book, right? This guy wrote a book, this like pornographic novel back in the 1800s about this magical island of sex. Now, a bunch of 13, 14-year-olds hear about this magical island and decide they want to go there, not realizing it's a book. But they take some fishing boat and they sail south of Japan. And guess what? They find the magical island of sex. It was real.
But really? What was there to have sex with? That becomes the question.
Turns out there was there's like some naked indigenous tribe that just freely has sex. So he went there and had sex with them all.
So what you're saying is that should be the revival of the horny teen comedy. It's all like 4 Americans traveling to Japan come across the magical story of the island of sex. So what do? They plan the ultimate hijink adventure, travel on the high seas as 4 horny virgins go from Tokyo to the Isle of Booty, coming this summer from Universal Pictures.
Ryan points it out. Are we sure we're not talking about Epstein's Island? I just want to make sure.
No, this is it's now
the only one who had sex on Epstein Island is probably Epstein, and whoever else. Who is Prince Philip's brother? What's his name?
Prince Andrew, and I think that was like the son or nephew or something.
Okay, because I
could.
By the way, he's pretty much been kicked out of the family now.
Who?
And Andrew, for the Epstein thing.
Okay.
He's pretty much had to go into like self-imposed exile because he made him look so bad.
Yeah. I just saw an article. Apparently, the original screenwriters of Predator are planning to sue Disney to get the rights back.
Yeah, I read that today too. I'll probably talk about that tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
I did not hear about that.
Yeah, because what it was is, right now there's been this big push with like Star Wars writers. One Star Wars writer in particular who wrote some Legends books. He
also wrote the novelization for Force Awakens, I believe.
No, I don't know if he did. Well, maybe, because I know he was complaining about Legends. Because they're reprinting Legends right now, right? So because those books have been selling. People say Star Wars is dead, but the books and the toys are selling, for crying out loud. So try again. But he was complaining to Disney about the royalties because they weren't paying him anymore once they acquired Lucasfilm. And so he's like, I want to get paid for my books, and they kind of go, no, why should we pay you royalties? We bought the company, we own the rights. And that brings up this whole idea of like, because writers, let's be fair, writers get the shit end of the stick in Hollywood. Like they don't get paid much money. They don't. They'll get money up front, which is probably what works out pretty well. but oftentimes they get left out of a lot of stuff or they get screwed over in the long run. And so this guy, the Predator guys, you know, I think that's what they want. What they want is because, okay, so well, here's the thing. Did you hear yesterday? A rumor came out that Disney wants to release one Alien movie and one Predator movie a year.
No, the only thing I heard about was the Dan Trachtenberg movie that they're doing with Predator and the Alien series on FX.
I heard what they're going to be doing is more TV stuff. That's what I heard they would do.
Well, then the Noah Hawley Alien show. Yeah. And then the Dan Trachtenberg Predator movie should be fascinating because I mean, for one, Dan Trachtenberg is a good director, so I really want to see
the premise that's leaked is really interesting. It's about like a Native American tribe apparently encountering Predator.
It's gonna be like Apocalypto meets Predator,
and that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh my God, did you see Apocalypto, James?
No.
Oh, you should watch it.
Other side of the planet. So. Well,
it's a Mel Gibson movie. He directed it. Like it was right after
probably did get released here.
Yeah, it was right after he got drunk and got busted and got slammed for the anti-Semitism. But the movie came out and it's not in English, it's all subtitles. It's a great fucking movie. But like I love the end of it when I don't know if I want to spoil it, even though it came out in 2006.
It's all right, man.
At the end of the movie, the Spanish show up, right? The Spanish show up. And I remember seeing it in theaters when it came out, and I just blurted out, "You all are fucked," because this is all the Spanish coming to Latin America, Central America, the Aztecs and stuff. So it's like if you know what happens, all of them got fucked. And I thought that was really funny because it was like the bad guys are the ones who encounter the Spanish first, and you're like, "Oh, you all are not going to have a good tomorrow." Okay, enjoy, guys. See you later. Bye. But I recommend the movie. It's fantastic. So anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I got about 5 minutes left before I got to bounce. And but I do appreciate you coming on. Wait,
all good.
Wait, Shrek here says the episode is live. Fuck. All right, we'll do one more call and then we'll go. Thanks a lot for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. See you.
Thank you. All right, Daniel. How's it going? I saw that you've been waiting for a while.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you are the final call of the night. So Anthony, I see you back there, buddy. I'm gonna have to get to you tomorrow, okay, man? We'll talk again soon. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Anthony. So real quick, what's your topic? Like lightning round.
My topic is Watchmen in the Snyderverse. How do you feel about that?
I mean, well, DC has, tried to connect the two before. I believe the Doomsday comic.
Doomsday Clock, yeah.
Doomsday Clock, kind of, yeah. They could do that. I think, I'll tell you this, if they want to really mix things up, try to get Damon Lindelof to come in and then tackle that for an HBO Max show. Because screw it. If it's all multiverse now, right? If it's all multiverse, then just, go into a property that's already on HBO that people really liked. Go into Watchmen. Tie it in.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I was more thinking Snyder's Watchmen going with Snyder's universe.
Well, that would be cool too. I was just thinking of like more practical, like what we have that's available. Because I mean, it's like, I would love to see them do something with that. But at the same time, I kind of like the fact that that's its own thing. Like I like that the TV show kind of continued off with the comic, but it followed the aesthetic that the movie had made, because like visually speaking, at least. And then I really enjoyed the movie for just what it was. And I don't know, I mean, they'd have to get like a pretty decent writer to find a way to merge it together. But Rorschach's dead. So like, that sucks. And so is a comedian. And then, and then Dr. Manhattan's on fucking Mars. So, it's like, who do you got? You've got the Silk Spectre 2 and, oh God, what's his name? Night Owl.
Night Owl,
right?
yeah.
and then Voight was what, arrested or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just know the way they brought the Watchmen in Doomsday Clock was pretty cool. I remember it was Reverse Flash just comes back and he's just all like burnt, and he says something like, "I just saw God," and they just don't know who he just met, who Reverse Flash just met, and I think it would be a pretty cool way to introduce Watchmen and Dr. Manhattan to very powerful characters that way, to have one of them just be killed and think he saw a god.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Watchmen, it's like, I mean, I hope Watchmen does get like a second season on HBO. I know Lindelof and all them are like being wishy-washy about it, but I'd be interested in it,
Yeah, well, I like what Fourth here says here. HBO Max should do a live-action Injustice and Deceased if there's not going to be a Snyderverse. Yeah, I mean, they were kind of aiming for a bit of the Injustice with the Snyder stuff.
Deceased would be amazing, by the way. Zombie DC characters. That'd be cool.
That should be something that's like an animated show or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, and
like,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say something totally different that I've noticed you say a few times. I think you got confused with the Arrowverse. The different Earths that they've established that you seem to remember were pre-Crisis. When Crisis happened, they rebooted all the Earths and reestablished different Earths, and I think that's where the confusion is.
Okay. I stopped watching like a couple of years ago.
Oh yes, so that's probably why. Yeah, they totally rebooted all the Earths and rearranged it.
But that's such a get out of jail free card. You know, it's such a creative get out of jail free card. I understand, like with let's say Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which was excellent. If you guys haven't seen it,
yeah, it's great.
The ending of that makes sense. They send him back. He reboots things. That makes a lot of sense. But that's like a one and done sort of thing, and you have to use that card so sparingly. And it worked for that movie because that was the end of that iteration of the DCAU. Right? Like all those films, that was the end of that.
Yeah.
And so it made sense to use it there. But like where we are right now, it would make sense, I think, to use it at the end of, let's say, if Zach does get his Justice League 2 and 3, you know. And here's the thing. And just kind of like to recalibrate my thoughts on that. If 2 and 3 were going to be predominantly set in the Nightmare sequence, which is probably what they would do, then the budget would be down considerably because, you know, you just shoot out in the desert or you shoot it on like, you know, green screen. So, you know, you could visually shoot it in the volume and you could, you know, make it work.
I thought two wasn't 2 supposed to be a non-Nightmare and 3 was supposed to be beginning of Nightmare, then go back.
Well, the thing is though, it's like if that was also back when they had the budget, back when they were planning on having $200 million budget.
Yeah.
You know, like where they are right now, they just simply won't get that kind of money. I would assume that the max they could probably get would be maybe around like maybe 100 million.
I say 150.
150 on a high end, to be fair. I would say 150, probably no more than that one. But even then, that's going to require a combination, but that still has to go theatrical, you know? But I think that if they do a theatrical run, even if they pushed it just theatrical for like IMAX or something, it would probably be able, I think after the Snyder Cut came out, it would do better than Justice League did when it came out in 2017. Because people have seen it now and there clearly is a lot more love for Snyder than there was. But I think they would probably recalibrate it budget-wise to make it something that is far more cost-effective, which would be the Nightmare sequence. Which, and I say that because also that seems to be what most people seem to care about.
Well, I think you're a good example of someone who didn't follow up on the Arrowverse shows and just got confused. And I think that's just a good example of how the multiverse can be very confusing for someone who doesn't watch maybe an interconnected universe for a couple movies maybe, and just gets confused because of multiple Earths and all that stuff, and how it can easily become confusing for audiences.
Yeah, it's all very confusing unless they plot it. And I just don't see them right now. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've got a writer's room and they're really figuring all this stuff out. But I think like I just haven't put a lot of faith in them because of their actions as of late. But look, I mean, what is it? It's almost the 16th. So we've got only a couple more days until April 22nd, which is the investors meeting for AT&T. And I'm sure they're going to talk about it there. So
I think that day is going to bring a lot of salt and copium. Just a hunch.
I predict a fair amount of copium. Yeah, I predict there's already a lot of it. People are already kind of starting to OD on it a bit, or hit those levels of OD. What is it? JusticeCon starts tomorrow.
I'm excited for that. Yeah,
I'm not. I don't care. I didn't watch. I'll catch the highlights as they come out. Other than that, I don't care.
Army of the Dead Day is gonna be fun though.
Yeah. No, that will be interesting. That will be. I'm excited. Enosh gets to interview Dave Bautista. That's gonna be pretty cool. And I'll definitely watch that because I support Enosh. But otherwise, I don't know. I'll see what comes up. It's not on. I have a lot of housework to do this weekend, so I'm just gonna probably be working on that. I get to install a new doorbell. Yay! Home ownership. There's always but anyway,
the one with the camera.
Yeah. Like just the other day, I had to get on my roof and like clear off all the clutter from the winter, and like start like demossing it because like we live in the woods. So like that was fun, like all right, at least it's finally getting summer again. Today was 70 degrees, which it hasn't been in a long time. So I'm happy with the weather. So I'm going to use it while I can. But on that note, it is officially midnight. I want to go watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I'm going to wrap this thing up.
It's an hour-long episode. I can't wait.
The fourth year says April 22nd will be the day of disappointment. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Wow. Terminator Salvation was 190 million. My God. Jesus, that was a lot of money for that movie.
And I saw someone earlier in the chat say that Ray Fisher was bad in Justice League, and I don't know if he saw the same movie that I did. And I think this guy trolls a lot because I've seen him a couple times.
He trolls a lot. Yeah, that Jose guy.
He's trolls. In my chat too.
He trolls all the time. Yeah, he just comes in. He's all like, "This is lame. This is stupid."
Like, Ray Fisher was amazing. I
don't know.
I
don't. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at this going like all right. Yeah, that whole he was good in the movie. He really. I will admit though, if I have one criticism of Ray Fisher, and I will end it with this, I did feel the "fuck the world" line, or "fuck the earth" line, whatever, was a bit overdone. It was a bit overcooked. It didn't feel the most natural to me. It felt a little bit forced.
I mean,
like I get it, but it's like it just felt like that was not the best take.
Well, maybe those were. Those scenes that people keep, Kal-El know from Gal Gadot, maybe those were the scenes that Zach had planned to reshoots, but never had the time.
Well, that's why
he only used what he had.
No, and that's actually correct. Yeah, I think what it was is in many instances, like what we saw was still not like the full complete version because he never shot the full complete version. Yeah. But what we got was still, I don't even want to use the terminology good enough, because it was still better than good.
Right.
It was still better than good. So it still was something better than what we did get before it in regards to Justice League. But had he had his way, it wouldn't have been as long. Yeah. And it would have been more truncated and a little bit trimmed down. But I feel like it was fleshed out well enough. I feel like we got time to breathe with these characters and spend a lot of time with them, which is ultimately what fans wanted. And I think that is for the best. Like I personally can't wait to own the movie on 4K next month.
Same.
So, but on that note,
yeah, I know you're getting the show, Matt, but there's been a couple of super chats.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Artie McFly here. Thank you very much. Possibility of Infinite Earths DC film where they bring most of Batman to appear together. Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, maybe. If Spider-Man 3, No Way Home, has Andrew and Toby, then I would fully expect this to happen. I would fully expect them to explore.
Because that'll be $1 billion movie for sure.
If you were to go like if No Way Home has that and it's mind blowing, expect DC to copy it. Let's just be fair. And they'll go, hold on.
Did you get the other super chat by the way? Shrek is daddy.
I must have missed that one. I'm sorry, Shrek. I'm sorry, sir. Okay, John Walker is the most intriguing MCU character. I actually agree. I wanted to spend more time with John Walker in the situation involving where he's at right now, because
you don't know what he's going to do next.
Exactly. And there was all that built up adrenaline and rage and anger that caused him to do what he did last week. And it was so funny. So many people got mad about that. I'm like, dude, there's so much nuance to the last 10 minutes of that episode. Like,
but Matt, it's woke. It's woke.
Okay? Fourth here, $5 super chat. Just trolling to keep the show going. Good night. I love you, Fourth, but fuck you, buddy. All right. Like, I love you. We want
to watch Falcon, man. Let us go.
Yeah. But I don't want to leave Artie thinking like we left him down here. Look, I would be okay with something like this. It would have to be done right.
Me too. Yeah.
But to get Ben Affleck and Christian Bale and Michael Keaton and look, Kevin Conroy, bring in Kevin Conroy, for crying out loud.
CW did him dirty.
They did him dirty, do him well in the yeah. And if Adam West was still alive, I would love to see Adam West pop in. Maybe Burt Ward can come back, and they could do Burt Ward and Chris O'Donnell can make an appearance. Val Kilmer, George Clooney. You know what I mean? Like I'd be down. Because the thing is, I love Batman. So I will overlook a lot with Batman, like I'd be okay with it.
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying though, but I think that general audiences are still going to say that DC is copying Marvel, although DC were the first ones to try to do the Flash, multiple Batman stuff, and then Marvel announced their multiverse. Marvel's doing it first, and I think general audiences who are not into this whole like knowing what happens behind the scenes, who's doing what, I think they're still going to make fun of DC for like doing a cheaper version of their characters. Multiverse.
Well, I think the thing is though, the multiverse has a means to an end for Marvel, right? So I think if they use it to open up into the Fox universe in order to get the X-Men characters and everything else, they'll find a way to make it work, right? They'll find a way to tie it into some kind of event that will then, and I don't say they'll reboot it, but they'll connect it, right? So I forget which DC? One. No, in Marvel. Oh. DC, I don't see them actually having the foresight to do that. With DC, I just see them going, okay, what sounds cool? Okay, yeah, let's do that. And then everyone will go back to their pocket universes until we run out of creative ideas, and then we'll do it again.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think Kevin Feige is going to do an amazing job. I'm just saying DC is going to still look like they're trying to catch up or copy Marvel.
Yeah. Which is so funny because
trend.
Yeah, I know. And even though they talked about it first, really, and then Marvel came on in and just beats them to the punch. And I don't get it. I mean, like, they have these movies that spend years in development, and it's like
Flash is my favorite character. The movie was supposed to come out in 2018. It's just, I don't think the movie's ever, and at this point, I would not be sad if the movie doesn't come out. And he's my favorite character. It's just so many false hopes every time we hear something. It's just getting ridiculous, frankly.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you, but okay, guys, it's after midnight. I'm going to go. Daniel, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Of course, thank you for having me.
And definitely call in again, because I love doing the call and stuff and getting people's perspectives 100%.
Cool.
So, all right. Thank you very much, man. And to everyone else, thank you guys for coming on. RJ, thanks for hanging out for a while and adding to the conversation. If you haven't checked out RJ's channel, it's just, what is it? Resonant Justice. They can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Resonant Justice, and you can also find me on YouTube at Resonant Justice as well.
All right, great. And so he's building up his channel, so go ahead and check that one out. All right, time to